Well, this should be interesting. Let's see if this works or not. So I've literally just spent the last 2 hours trying to set up StreamYard. And this is my first ever experience of going live on YouTube. So be interesting to see if anybody joins me. Certainly would love to see some comments. And any questions you've got about our channel, about our life in Bulgaria, about, some of the struggles that we went through at the beginning, some of the things we've learned from buying a property in Bulgaria. Be good to find out what you guys think. But first of all, let's start off with the basics. I mean, I'd love to have a comment just to make sure you guys can see me and can hear me, because at present I've not got a clue. But yeah, let's see what happens. So why do we do this? Why do I put myself under so much pressure? I have no idea. I actually started the YouTube channel for one very, very important reason, and that's my boys, my 2 sons. Those of you that watch the videos will have seen Cody and Toby, the ginger twosome, running around, filming themselves, just being feral at home, just being the way they are. And I started the channel purely for those guys. And to be fair, I wanted them to look back at what we've done, look back at what we've achieved, because I'm sure their memories won't last forever at such a young age. And even I forget some things about what happened when we first came to Bulgaria and the first time we saw the house. So it'd be good to see. It'd be good to see what people think of our videos, but more what they think of the videos when they get older. So anyway, we've had a couple of comments already. It's just coming through. Thank you very much. YouTube channel is great. Keep it up. It is great, but I'm not going to lie. It's hard work. So, like I said, I originally did it for the boys, and then I realized that people wanted information. They wanted to know more. So we spend a lot of time trying to work out the best things to film, because when you're there full time, or when you're there for a few months at a time like we are, you've got so many other things to do. And it could be all the basic things. It could be just going shopping. It could be, looking after the kids at home. It could be the little jobs that we're doing. It could be the washing up. You know what I mean? There's just so many things that get in the way of filming. And I'm the worst one for it, because quite often I'll make a mistake of not having my camera with me, or like I did on the last video, I went out with our friends and ended up with an issue that I took my camera and I forgot to put the SD card in it, because it was still in process of editing the previous video. So so it's absolutely crazy. Hi Marie, you've just jumped on about charging. Oh, right. No, this is interesting. Yeah. So the electricity issue. Loads of people have jumped onto this, and I don't blame them, because there's 2 sides in a way to this story. The most important part of it is that when you buy a house as a UK citizen, and not a Bulgarian citizen, you are not allowed to own land. So you can actually buy the house in your name, but the land has to go in a company name. And this is something I didn't know at the beginning. So this is a lesson that I've learned. If it's an apartment, it's a different process entirely, really, because if you're not owning the land and you're in an apartment, generally you can buy that without having a company. So it's the land that's the issue. However, we know people with apartments that were never told this. I wasn't told that I could put the house in my name and the land in a company name either. So there's 2 ways around it. The first way, what I found, was to actually sign up with a lawyer a rental agreement and put the rental agreement in your own name. So even though I own the company that owns the house, I now have a rental agreement with my own company to lease the house to myself, which then means that it's in my name. And we went into electric board, which is EVN in our area, and presented them with the paperwork, and absolutely brilliant. You know, it took a while, but absolutely brilliant. And they swapped it all over. And what that means now, I'm not paying commercial or business electric charges. I'm paying residential charges, which is exactly what I wanted. The other way to do it is if the property is not in your name, it's in your company name, you can contact whoever your company's registered through, or whether I use an accountant, so I can contact my accountant. And there is a process that you can go to put that property in your name, even without residency. I'm not sure on the costings of it, but I do know that our lawyer was looking at that option. And obviously there'd be charges from the accountant who set up our company. He'd charge for doing the paperwork, and then the lawyer would charge for providing whatever paperwork they need. So yeah, it's a possibility, but I'm not going to say it's easy, but that's the other route of doing it. I don't know your personal circumstances, but yeah, rental agreement. You can actually put the rental agreement as 0. So even though you've got an agreement to rent it, you don't have to charge any money. So our rental agreement is that I'm charging myself no rent. So it is actually still a company that's not making any money. It's just, the thing is with bureaucracy in Bulgaria, as many of you have already experienced more than likely, there are so many legal loopholes. It's ridiculous. It's just silly. And Bulgarians seem to like the paperwork. So yeah, they create a lot of stress, a lot of paperwork for themselves. But if it gets the job done, it gets it done. So what else have we got here? I hope that answers your question. It's what we've learned as we've got along. Like I said, I made the mistake. I wish I'd put the house in my name, but I didn't know at the time. Emmy on your channel. So originally, my channel was for my company in the UK. So my company in the UK was Mayhem Events. It used to be an entertainment company years ago, which was called Magical Mayhem Events. So yeah, that kind of just changed to Mayhem Events Outdoors. So it was ME Outdoors, and it seemed fitting because everything that I was doing was basically me outdoors. So it was caving, kayaking, climbing, you know, all that kind of stuff, bushcraft, all that kind of stuff. So outdoor education. Those of you that probably look back through videos on my channel will have seen that during lockdown, I did a lot of knife and axe throwing. It was just something that I got into because I couldn't stand being stuck in the house. I wasn't allowed to go and do what I do as a living. At the time, I was working for the Scouting Association. So I just stayed in my back garden chucking knives at pieces of wood. But it was good fun. It's something that I did. Right, so that's the me outdoors bit. What else have we got? Loads of questions coming in all at once. How much is the council tax? So, again, this is another one that seems to vary with a lot of people. So we know numerous expats in the villages that are paying an amount for council tax. Now, bearing in mind, there's two parts to your council tax bill. There's your council tax and your waste management, so your bin men, basically. So the council tax is the cheaper part of it. And I know a lot of people that are paying around 50 lev for a whole year. So 20 quid. 20 quid for a whole year, and that's their council tax payment made. Where it becomes more difficult is when you've got things registered in a company name, it's the waste management side of things that's a pain in the backside, because they treat you as a business, as a company. So even though you've got no commercial waste, you don't have commercial bins, you have a normal wheelie bin, but they still charge you as a commercial entity. So that can be quite expensive. Now, we know that we're paying more than we should be at the moment, but again, without actually going through the process of changing the house and the land, well, the house in particular, not necessarily the land, but the house into my name, I can't get that waste management part of it reduced. So yes, you're not looking at a lot for council tax. They call it municipality tax is what it's called. You know, I think the most I've seen people pay up to now is about 100 levs for that part of it. And then it goes more expensive with the other add-ons they put on. But yeah, it's not expensive. rental amounts. So, yeah, don't ask me why. We were just told straight away that you don't have to, it's all about having an agreement in place to just put your name on that document. It's not necessarily about the amount you charge. At the end of the day, it's your place, it's your house, you own it. As a company, you own it. If you choose to let your house out to somebody for nothing, there's not a lot they can do about it. Thanks regarding me. That's an explanation. Best I can do. It's nice to see you guys on here. Anyway, if anybody wants to join in, by the way, if anybody wants to jump on camera, please let me know. I can send you an invite to the link. You're more than welcome to jump on and share the live cam. That's not a problem. I can send that through. I know not everybody wants to be on camera, but I've got the software to do it, so I might as well use it. Like I said, most of you have seen what I've done so far on the video, so I know we'll get some things about that. Yeah, documents. Yeah, definitely. The reason why the internet's growing so fast in Bulgaria is because the government's department's using it. Yeah, this is the thing. It's crazy with Bulgaria, with the internet and the technology side of things, because they've actually got way better systems in place for the Wi-Fi and the internet. It's super fast. It's amazing. It's absolutely brilliant. And yet you go into a bank and they hold a paper file with all your documents in it. Nothing seems to be computerized. Nothing seems to be bang up to date. The government, I don't know how many departments actually use it, whether some do and some don't. I just know that they are way behind on the technology. And yet you meet business owners in Bulgaria that are getting quite savvy with it, whether it's the marketing side of things. Funnily enough, little story, went to our little favourite bar. Those of you that know Sunny Beach may have seen the beer stop. And Boris is a lovely guy. And I went in with a friend of mine, and it came to paying the bill. And my friend had been buying me beers all night. He'd been buying Jägermeister shots. Came to paying the bill, and jokingly, he turned around to Boris and said, "Do you take Bitcoin?" Boris pulled his phone out and said, "Yeah, no problem." Now, for a Bulgarian to do that was quite surprising to me, because quite often, you mention anything to do with the internet, anything to do with technology, and they look at you like you're crazy. But yeah, Boris in his little wooden shack called the Beer Stop for the real ales would take Bitcoin as payment, which I thought was pretty impressive. Right. Are you trying to learn Bulgarian? Malko Balgaski. Govorite li angliski? That's my go-to. If they can speak English, I do get very lazy. But what I will say is, and I think this is a really big one for anybody that's even thinking about buying a house or wanting to integrate into Bulgarian culture, is at least turn up with 25 phrases. And they don't have to be perfect. Remember, it's the same in any country. Language has got dialects. It's got different nuances between the way certain, how can I put this, certain sectors of the community speak. So obviously the Gypsy language is a completely different language to Bulgarian. Bulgarian in Burgas is completely different to Sofia. They've changed the language quite dramatically. But yeah, if you learn textbook style Bulgarian and you learn 25 phrases, it can open a lot of doors for you. And that's all I did. And I've got to admit, there's been a couple of times when, being able to say, Priatno mi je da se zapoznam, nice to meet you. Just basic little things, basic little terms like that. And puts a smile on a Bulgarian's face, because you've taken the effort to learn certain things. So obviously your basics, hello, goodbye, see you later, all the basic things, being able to ask how much things are. But yeah, just being able to say nice to meet you is a phrase that they don't always use. I mean, I say good morning to everybody, as we do. Jessica's just joined us as well. Now, for those of you that don't know, we got back, and after a week of being back home in the UK, Jess had had enough and she took off to Benidorm. So Jess is in Benidorm with her sister, enjoying life over there, which has given me the opportunity to do this. So it's great. Who else? Michaela, what do you think about the pay monthly way to buy houses? Actually, I'm quite impressed that this is happening now. Now, we didn't have to worry about that, mainly because we had a budget that we wanted to stick to. I knew exactly what budget I had in mind. I knew exactly what I wanted and what I want to spend, so I didn't have to worry. But I know for a lot of people, if they're looking at the option of buying and needing some form of credit, it can be very difficult to get a mortgage in Bulgaria because the banking system isn't structured like the UK. It is possible. There are people that do get mortgages, but there are companies now that are specifically setting up knowing that this sort of like rent to buy, if you like, situation is perfect. So you pay a lump sum and then monthly payments off the total cost of the property. Again, yeah, by all means, if it's something that you want to do, go for it. Just make sure you have a good lawyer that's independent that will deal with all the paperwork, because there's nothing worse than sending money to somebody you've never met before and then the paperwork not being right and all of a sudden you lose everything. It does happen, unfortunately. So just make sure that everything's spot on. Totally get you regarding the language. Definitely made us try less with English-speaking Bulgarians. Yeah, in our area, most Bulgarians speak English, and they want to speak English because they want to practice their English as well. So you do get a bit lazy. And you're right about the dialects. But it is the same in the UK. So where I am now, so I'm not originally from Chorley. I'm originally from Bolton. But I'm in Chorley. I can go a mile and a half down the road, hit Wigan, and I can't understand the word they're saying. So, it's absolutely crazy. Dialects change so much in the UK. That's what happens in Bulgaria. Exactly the same thing. Jessica's just put, back home to the UK tomorrow. And a cry face. Well, the boys are missing you. So there you go, Jess. That'd be good. Again, from the new Bulgarians. Now, I love it. I love it when I've got other people on here that I know have gone through the same process as us, that bought a property over there. Whether they're going through a residency process or whether they've already got residency. It's just nice to keep in touch with people that do YouTube videos. Good question. So I would say the bank account question is, we had a bank account because you have to have a bank account for your company. My accountant was brilliant. So if you've not seen on the videos, basically it cost me 250 lever in total for my accountant to meet me on the Monday, go to the bank, open a company bank account, go to the notary, sign some papers. I then went and had a look around Bulgaria, drove down to Sunny Beach eventually to have a look around the area, have a look where I wanted to be. And then on the Friday, I returned, met my accountant at the bank. We went in and we closed the account and finalised the notary paperwork, and I had everything set up. And I asked him, I said, why have I had an account for a week? And it was simple. In that 1 week of opening it and closing it, the fees cost me about 38 lev. And I should have known that it was something like that, because when we opened the bank account, he actually told me to deposit to open the account with exactly 38 lev. And that was kind of like, I was thinking, why that amount? It's a funny amount. Why not 40? But 38 lev was exactly the right amount to cover the fees. And unfortunately, Bulgarian banks like to charge. They'll charge you for everything they possibly can. So currently, we do not have a bank account in Bulgaria. But we are aware that there is a Bulgarian-owned online bank. And I'm hoping that if I can find a way of getting that account open, which at the moment is difficult because, again, they want you to have residency. But if I can get an account open with them, it'd save me a lot of hassle with the high street banks. But we'll see. I know you need one for residency. So, we'll keep in touch with you on that one and hopefully find out from your own experience as well what's the best way to go. Owen, I've watched most of your vids. I've been here for 11 years. At Bulgarian from Doskoro, man. See you later. It should give you a clue when I say see you later, Doskoro. And you're only 60 kilometers up the road from me. There you go. It does change quite a lot. Doskoro, I learned very early on as see you later. I like to think it's nice when you're not in a formal situation just to use the sort of like more relaxed language. So, I will say "Zdrasty." I'll say hi to people that we know. "Zdravite" to people that I don't know, especially when they're older. But "Zdravite" is just one of them things that you just get used to saying all the time. Again, it changes from area to area. If you go to a posher end, it's "Zdravite." If you go down to Burgas, it's "Zdravete." So, you know what I mean? It's just, they just pronounce it slightly different. But yeah, I say hello. Informally, I say hi. And how many times do you hear people say "Devistane"? You don't hear them say goodbye. You don't hear "Devistane." You hear "ciao" all the time. Ciao. And I think it's a little bit lazy. But yeah, Doskoro, see you later, does for me. Right, let's see. Got to keep up with these. People are jumping on here now when I'm getting behind. Going to be driving to Bulgaria around May. How do you find driving in Bulgaria? Absolutely crazy. Nice one, Jezza. Good luck. Enjoy it. Keep to the main roads. Don't go on the mountain roads because you'll have no vehicle left unless you've got a decent four-wheel drive. The main roads are great. Don't get me wrong. All the roads where you need your inverted sticker to the road tax sticker, the roads are well maintained. They're brilliant. If you take the back road from Sunny Beach to Varna, you'll experience a completely different thing. It's like you don't drive on the left, you drive on what's left. It's just crazy. The other drivers in Bulgaria will overtake you on blind bends, over the top of hilltops. They'll come from nowhere at 1,000,000 miles an hour. They'll slam on in front of you. Bulgarian drivers are absolutely unbelievably bad. Not all, but in my experience, a lot. But once you've got used to driving on the opposite side of the road, I think it's easier if you're in a right-hand drive vehicle, as in you're used to where the gear stick is and the sensory perception of the vehicle. When you switch over to a left-hand drive, which is obviously what I do when I've got my hire cars, it takes me about a week to adjust to everything being on the wrong side. So yeah, about a week, and then I've adjusted, then I'm fine. Then I come back over here and find it hard to adjust back to being on the opposite side of the road. So yeah, we've now bought a car in Bulgaria. It's a right-hand drive car, originally from the UK. We bought it off expat friends of ours. And even though it's a little bit harder for overtaking because you don't have the line of sight, if you're just driving around steady, then I think it's just a little bit easier. I knew what you meant, but just never heard it in 11 years. Yeah. Just saying. See you later. I've caught up with your vids. Enjoy your bro. Aha! I bought you a beer in Spiders. Let's have a look. Who's this? Sorry, I'm behind. Oh, is it one of our Irish friends? Because it's Gal Boy. It sounds like a yeah, possibly. Bought you a beer in Spiders in September. We are back in June. Maybe see you again. So, yes, we will be back in Bulgaria in June. When in June, we don't know yet. So, we usually tied up with different appointments and different things going on here. When we know that everything's out of the way, that's when we go back. There we go. All the bottom rows are the same. Yeah, I get that. We're at Sunny Beach end of June. Yeah, if you're there at end of June, we'll see you. If you've got some properties to view, any questions, give us a shout. Especially if you want to know anything about areas, Marie, just drop us a message. Give us a shout. I'm more than happy to tell you what we know. We don't know everything, but we do know where's nice and where's not as nice. We also know little bits about the infrastructure of the area that we're in. So yeah, can always give you some advice there. You reckon, right? I was waiting for something like this. You recommended One Stop Property Shop, Burgas. They have not replied to my emails. Wanted to sell a property in Poroi. Looked at Poroi as an option actually when I first went over there. Well, James, it's out of season, and I know that Pat himself has been carp fishing pretty much every week recently. He's been out of the office quite a lot. I do know that in May is when he tends to be back in the office a lot more and dealing with properties, because that tends to be May, June, July tends to be his hot time for buying and selling. I'm surprised he never got back to you on an email. Maybe, I don't know. It's just a crazy one. I've always found the best way to contact them is Facebook, to be honest. I've always spoken to, that's where I first found out about Pat. And I contacted Pat and Helen on Facebook. And to be honest, I'll say one thing. There's a lot of sort of people that don't get on very well with Pat. He's a very straight talker. And if there's nothing he can do for you, he will tell you straight. However, Pat told me straight, I'm sorry, mate, but there's nothing in this area for your budget. But I stuck to my guns and I told him what I wanted. And luckily, when we left, it was actually Manol, who's his Bulgarian friend, who found our house. And then we did the buy-in through Pat. And he couldn't have looked after us any better. He was absolutely brilliant. Even to the point of when we went over, before we got the keys, putting us up in one of his apartments. And we had a week in an apartment until he could hand over the keys to the property. So he really did look after us. So I'll never say a bad word about him. I'll always promote him. I know one or two people have been upset by him in the past. If you get upset by him, then it's understandable, because Pat is Pat. There's no two ways about it. He's a straight talker. And if you can straight talk back, you'll get on with him. If you try and mess him around, forget it. You've got no chance. But yeah, keep on with him and definitely try and contact through Facebook. Neighbours. No, not the TV programme in Australia, but Jess has answered that one on there. We are lucky. We are very lucky. So you hear about some people that move into villages that aren't as welcoming. Our village is really welcoming. Absolutely, totally welcoming. And we've got expat friends there now, and we've got expat from other countries that have contacted. We met a guy from Sweden there. We've got German friends there. We've got a Moldovan friend there, and our direct neighbour is Turkish ancestry. That he lives in Bulgaria, speaks fluent Bulgarian. I think his wife's Bulgarian. And they are lovely. They are amazing. They've been really nice. They keep an eye on the house. They speak a little bit of English. And then our older neighbour doesn't speak a word of English, but every time he sees us, massive smile on his face, comes over shaking our hand. Just wonderful. And what I did find out when we had one of our Bulgarian friends there who translated was the elderly neighbours were just happy to see a young family in the village, because, as most people know, the older generation are dying off in the Bulgarian villages, and a lot of the younger population have either moved to the cities or emigrated abroad, trying to find work, trying to find better money. Unfortunately, you get a lot of villages that are kind of dying, especially further out you go into Bulgaria. The more rural you get, you can find some absolute ghost towns because the elderly population are dying off. So they actually embraced us being there as a young family, which I thought was amazing. Many people from Bulgaria go to England. What made you do the opposite? Nice to hear from Bulgarians on here. Love to speak to Bulgarians while we're over there about this. I think people always say to me, what's your reason for Bulgaria? And it's not just about the cheaper cost of living. Okay. However, when we come back to the UK, so let's say we go to Bulgaria for the full 90 days, the full 3 months in Bulgaria. Then we come back to the UK. The amount of money that I'm in credit for on my gas and electric with British Gas is probably more than what we spent in the whole 3 months of being in Bulgaria. So that just shows you the difference. So I've not had an electric bill in Bulgaria of more than 50 leva, 20 quid. And I don't even think that's per month. I think that's, can't remember. I think it's like a quarter or something. It's quite a long time anyway. So I've never paid more than 50 levs. And then we come back over here and I check British Gas and they take in money out of my bank every single month, even when we're not using a penny of it. and sometimes can be a couple of £1,000 in credit with them. So I think, yeah, the cost of living when it comes to bills and things like that are the reason why Bulgaria is just such a cheaper option for us. The UK itself, yes, there is work. I understand that. People want to come here and work. And of course, I would find it very difficult to work in Bulgaria. Fully aware of that. But we're in a different position. So, we want to take a step back. I class it as trying to retire early. And I've got personal reasons for that. My dad didn't really see much of his retirement. And all other people in my family have died young as well. So I don't really want to risk waiting until retirement age and then not having a retirement and not experiencing the life in Bulgaria that we're experiencing. So that's one of the main reasons. But yeah, Bulgaria, don't get me wrong. I don't, any Bulgarian that comes over to the UK, I'm sure they do well. I'm sure they love the wages. But when they actually weigh it all up, they might love going to the pound shop and going to Asda. But when you weigh everything up in total, it's a way cheaper cost of living in Bulgaria. Thanks, Jess. They're lucky to have good neighbours. I'm glad that Jess is on here. She's keeping up with the chat better than I am. Good job I can talk, isn't it? That's the thing. Can I ask what your budget was to buy in Sunny Beach? Now, we didn't buy in Sunny Beach. I'll tell you that now. 100%. Now, even though as a family with young children, we love Sunny Beach. We absolutely love it. It's a brilliant place to visit. It's a brilliant place to go. It's also a place that I couldn't be in all the time. So especially in the height of summer, it's just crazy. It's just busy, and it's just a little bit too much. So I had this dream of finding the ideal village that was in 30 minutes was my original guideline, 30-minute drive of Sunny Beach. And obviously there's quite a number of villages that are just inland of Sunny Beach within that 30-minute radius. So we had to do a little bit of hunting around. Again, thanks once again to Pat, who drove me around all the villages, give me an explanation of what they like, what's there, what's not there. So, and also the averaging costs as well, because there are some villages that are a little bit closer that are still quite expensive. The further out you go into the mountains, the cheaper the properties get. So budget-wise, I went over and I turned around to Pat and I said, listen, I know that there are properties that are in the middle of nowhere in rural Bulgaria that you can buy for £5,000. And yes, I do know the derelict properties and I do know that they need a lot of refurbishment and some of them pretty much rebuilding. But I knew that there was cheap properties. But I also knew that in Sunny Beach, a studio apartment was asking between 50 and 60,000 euro. So I knew that Sunny Beach was out of our price range. So I just turned around and said, listen, I don't think I've divulged this on any of the videos, but I said, listen, my budget is 35,000 euros. I've got 35,000 euros to spend. This is what I want. I want a multi-room property. I want land. I want a traditional bungalow. I want that rural lifestyle, but in a reasonable distance. And what we didn't look into, and where we have been very, very lucky, is that since we bought the house, we realised that we were literally on the last bus stop out of Sunny Beach, which is great. So we can jump on the bus backwards and forwards. If we'd gone further out to another village, we might not have been on a bus route at all. If we had a bus route, it would have been maybe one in the morning and one late on in the evening, which some of the workers from the village get, and that's it. So, yeah, we felt lucky with that. We will admit I should have done better research, but I did leave a good indication with Pat of what I wanted. And I think he took into consideration as well that the village that we moved to is so suitable for us as a family. It's unbelievable. He absolutely hit the nail on the head. He couldn't have done any better. If we'd been in some of the other villages, we wouldn't have had the same amenities. Things can be a little bit spread out a little bit further as well. I love Goritsa. We've got friends in Goritsa, lovely village. I would love to have been up there, but again, there's a few things that just didn't line up for that to happen. And I'm glad it didn't, because my heart was in one village, but now we live in the village we're in Gilofsa, we've seen the advantages of being where we are. It's absolutely unbelievable. So definitely lucky. So there you go. First time I've revealed the budget. And Pat laughed at me. And I now know that you've got no chance. So bearing in mind, this was just as the war broke out in Ukraine. This is before all the Ukrainians started buying properties in and around the area, which has driven the price up dramatically. So, you know, we know that in the 2 years we've had it, we've probably more than doubled what the property's worth. We are aware of that. Right, everybody, I can relax now. Everybody's talking to Jess on it. That's brilliant. Now, this is good. Is it possible to get permanent residency in BG? I was waiting for the residency questions. I knew they were coming. Yes, it is possible to get residency in BG. Why have we not done it? That is the bigger question. So before I bought the house, I'd already looked into the visa process. I'd already looked into what was required. Obviously, we've gone after Brexit. There was a couple of people that had put a flea in my ear early on that kind of suggested, oh, you're still within this swap over period of leaving Brexit. You might just be able to sneak in. You might be able to just go down to migration office and sort out the paperwork and get residency. But what they weren't telling us is that you had to provide significant proof that you'd been living in Bulgaria for several years prior to that time. So we didn't have the proof. Yes, we had the deeds to the house, but we didn't have the evidence. We didn't have the proof. And to be fair, it wasn't even worth trying. Now, we do know some people that did get the residency really late on, just before they closed off the cut-off point for people doing it. But they could prove that they'd had an apartment or a place over there for a long time, and they could prove via bills and passport stamps, how much time they spent in Bulgaria. So they got it. But they even found it difficult. They found it very difficult to get residency. The route that I'm looking at is probably the same route that many other younger people look at, which is trade representative route. We know there's some fantastic lawyers that deal with residency in Bulgaria. And I'll be honest, the only reason why I haven't done it yet is because everything is so up in the air politically. So look at the UK situation at the moment. The Tories are basically defrauding the country really, really badly. Everybody's becoming more aware of it. We're aware now that, yes, governments are corrupt all over the world, but we're seeing a lot of corruption with this Conservative government. There's a chance that they're going to be voted out. We don't know who's going to be coming in, whether it's Labour or whether it's Reform or whoever, but we know that there's political changes happening. We know there's political changes happening in Bulgaria as well, because we've got the situation with the EU and the potential of the euro currency coming in. We've got the Shenzhen, which I can never pronounce properly, Shenzhen zone, where now at the end of this month, they are in Shenzhen with air and sea travel, but not over the land crossing borders, which is really confusing. Why they've not done all borders, I don't know, which can mess things up for people that want to tour around. So let's say you wanted to come to Bulgaria in your camper van, spend your 90 days there. You could have nipped over the border into Greece or wherever for 90 days and come back. Unfortunately, that stops, or it will be stopping at the end of the month. You can't, saying camper van, I mean, this is air and sea now, so you'd have had to go by ferry. But it's just, I don't understand the situation that's happening with that fully, but I do know that it's going to make life a little bit more difficult for people without residency that are on the tourist visas. But I also know that if our government decided to join the Shenzhen zone, it could actually make life easier for us in that way. It'd give us a bit more freedom of movement. So at the moment, everything's a bit up in the air. So I'm not willing to risk what's potentially a couple of £1,000, because it is. I mean, it's not, for me and Jess to get residency, it's not cheap. It's going to cost us a couple of grand. And I don't want to go through that process of a couple of grand while we still got commitments to come back to in the UK for us to be ready to actually move full time, maybe in 3 years' time, and then not have needed it because the rules have changed, or Bulgaria's changed the visa system and they want younger people in, so they've developed new visas. Spain have just done it. Spain have brought in a non-lucrative visa because they realised that a lot of expat Brits left Spain because of Brexit. And then who's spending money? Simple. If they've all come back to the UK, all that money that they were getting in Spain is now over here. So they've made it easier now for people to get a visa in Spain. So hopefully that's going to happen with BG. But yes, we will look into the visa process more and see what happens over the next couple of years. We did have a 5-year plan, so we're only 2 years into that. See what happens. I'm missing things on here because I'm chatting too much. We're very lucky with the neighbours. I'm just trying to see what Jess is answering. Yeah, it is difficult to adjust to life when we come back to the UK. It is a big adjustment. I'm going to talk about something now that I've not revealed before. I don't think I have. So after our first long stop in Bulgaria and the first sort of like full summer we did, coming back to the UK was really difficult for me, to the point where I became very depressed, really struggled with society over here. You know, we literally, when we got back, we went to shop in Asda, and there were more people in Asda than we'd seen in the last, like, so many months in being in Bulgaria. It was just absolutely rammed full. And I just couldn't get over how intense everything felt. Yeah, it was just too much. Even now, yeah, I'm sat here now on camera, and we live in the UK on a main road, and there are cars constantly flying past all day and all night. There are cars on this road going backwards and forwards, blue lights coming through. And yes, we live on a main road in our village, and if we see 10 cars a day, that's a busy, busy day. You know what I mean? So it's a very different lifestyle here, very much. Is Flash a builder? Well, Flash isn't Flash, is Slash. And not the Slash, the guitarist from Guns N' Roses, but Slash is a builder, and that's why we find it quite difficult to get hold of Slash, because he's got a proper job. You know, he works for a construction firm. So when he's at home, if he has the odd chance to do some work for us, he'll come and do something. To be honest, he's great at the plastering. He comes in, he can plaster the room so quickly, and it's kind of, things are done slightly different in Bulgaria than they are done in the UK. So it's a different kind of, it's more like a render that they use rather than a plaster. And they use this fabric net stuff that they put up. Now, I'm not a builder. I'm rubbish at DIY. I'm absolutely shocking. The first ever time I've laid a brick was for the water pit, and you've seen that in the videos. The first time I've ever mixed any concrete and made anything out of concrete was on the videos underneath the door on the that we've just had put in of the double glazing. Yeah, so I'm learning things as we go along. But yeah, when we need Slash, he's absolutely brilliant at helping us out. We also have another friend, our German friend, who's a joiner. So if Hagen's available, you know, if there's anything that's kind of suits his skills, he will do some building works as well. But he's mainly into his woodworking, so anything to do with the roofs, anything to do with, you know, building pagodas, staircases, things like that. He's your man, and I'm very happy to sort of pass information on about these people as well, because I know that Hagen in particular, you know, he goes through periods where, you know, he might be in between jobs. He'd be looking for another building job, but he also runs the ATV company. So he's got the ATV tours, which I did put on one of the videos. And if I can send some work his way, that'd be brilliant. So if anybody needs any building work or any sort of joinery work in our area, he will travel, bearing in mind. But if anybody wants anything, give us a shout. I can put you on to Hagen. We have friends in Goritza. Oh, that's Jess. What if I missed, Jess? What if I missed? Budget. Culture shop. So hard for me to keep up with this. Does nobody want to join me on camera, by the way? I've done this fantastic banner. Let's change my banner because I've not done that for a while. There we go. This is a good banner. If you've not already subscribed, please subscribe. Now, I didn't want to be begging for subscriptions on this, but we are getting so close to that 1,000 Mark, and I want to monetize this channel because we put a lot of effort into it. We put a lot of effort while we're in Bulgaria into making the videos, into editing the videos and getting them on there. And even though we know that YouTube doesn't pay a great amount of money through AdSense and all the rest of the monetization, it'd just be nice to see something coming back in off it. So yeah, if we can get to 1,000 subscriptions, and the best way to do that is when you've watched one of the videos, if you've enjoyed our video, just share it onto your Facebook page. Just literally click the share button. If you share it onto your Facebook page, maybe we'll get another few viewers that might subscribe. They might not, but they might subscribe. The more people that see the videos, the more chance of subscriptions. So yeah, please help us out with that one. Jess, the most recent one for sale. Kimberly, yeah, if you want to meet us, we'll be there. We should still be there till right the way through till September. Best thing to do is be in Spiders, Iglika, or Condor, because they're the 3 bars that we spend most of our time in when we're there. But yeah, just drop us a line on here. Just put a comment on here, or contact us any way you can, and we will meet up with you. No problem. Others with an Irish passport, you have to register. Yeah, that's the thing. Yeah, if you've got Irish passport, you've got no issues with the visas. Yeah, it's just us Brits that have been hit really hard. We have our friend in the village who's Irish. I've asked him if he'll adopt me and Jess, but he won't adopt us, so we're a bit knackered. Would be the work for a property maintenance person like myself. There was a business over here in the UK to transfer that across to BG. So I'm not sure where this question is going really, but if you've got a business set up in the UK and your skills are not just the actual skill. So you're saying property maintenance, absolutely brilliant. Property maintenance, a lot of people require it. A lot of people require it even for the apartments. It's not necessarily about your skills in that profession. It's more about your business sense. If you've got good business acumen and you could go over to Bulgaria, you can get a visa around your own business and around working in Bulgaria, but it's not as straightforward. So I'd still look at trade representative, and I'd use, if your company has been running for over 2 years in the UK, you may be able to use the trade representative off the back of your own company to set up a satellite company in Bulgaria. And is it easy to get work? If you've got good business acumen, very easy to get work. We know people over there from all different places. There's a Dutch guy that's over there that's out working, doing different things. There's German guys that are out there that are doing different things. You've got to promote yourself. You've got to get out there. You've got to promote yourself to the expat community, promote yourself around the Bulgarians. You know, every time I speak to people, when I'm speaking to people about what I do with the social media marketing, I'm speaking to Bulgarian bar owners and just generally trying to get them on board with what I do. You know, just speak to people. I mean, I'm lucky because everything that I do is digitally online. So everything technically is run from my UK company, my UK digital online company. That's where I pay my taxes. That's where my company is based. Everything I do is in the UK. However, I can have clients from all over the world. So I can have clients in Bulgaria that still have the services from my UK company, which is a really good way of doing it. Even though I pay less tax in Bulgaria, I can't do that until I'm a resident. So, and then even then I need the work permits to actually work in Bulgaria. Nadia, have you ever needed a doctor while in Bulgaria? I'm asking because I have 2 young children. I also worry about such things when I travel abroad. Up to now, touch wood, no, we have not needed a doctor, which is amazing when it comes to Jessica, because Jessica is in and out of hospital like you wouldn't believe. I've never known somebody to be seriously ill as much as Jessica's been. The kids are accident prone like you wouldn't believe, and Cody has a couple of ongoing things as well that we medicate while we're over there. So yeah, so we've got a lot of reasons to need a doctor, and we've not needed one yet. However, we do know that with our EHIT cards, we can get emergency treatment paid by the NHS over there. We also know that it's not that expensive for the private medical cover. And with private medical cover, the actual private medical centres and the doctors there, especially in Sunny Beach area, good English speaking, same in Burgas as well, some good English speaking doctors and great private medical healthcare. State healthcare, different thing entirely. So I'm not saying the state healthcare is bad. It's efficient in the respect of no waiting times. It's efficient in respect of if you need tests done, you will get the results back within 45 minutes instead of 45 weeks like it is here in the UK. You will, there's a lot of things that are very efficient. However, you'll find that the hospitals aren't necessarily up to the cleanliness standards that you would expect from my hospitals in the UK. And you'd also find that the aftercare isn't that good. It's a case of, right, you're in, you've been treated, get yourself home. The aftercare is not that great. You'll also find the state hospitals there's less English-speaking staff as well. So that could be an issue. But yeah, if you can do things privately, private health coverage, you should be absolutely fine with that. What's going on here? It's just getting busy and busy. They're coming thick and fast now, Glenn. I know I have to talk faster. What time am I going to be on here till? No, it's great. I'm so happy that people are joining us because, like I said, we're putting a lot of work in. We just never know what's going to be going on. How much did your furniture cost? Let me tell you a little story about this. So we were told that there was a lot of people that had spent a fortune on shipping the furniture over from the UK. Then they thought, actually, it was a bit silly that we should have just sold everything in the UK and it would have been cheaper just to replace everything in Bulgaria. Then when we got to Bulgaria, we found that actually a lot of furniture, especially, nice furniture like leather suites and stuff, were very expensive, very expensive. So as we would do over here, if you want cheap and cheerful, then you've got two options, really. First option, IKEA. You can't really go wrong with IKEA. We use, in fact, I've got the laptop set up on an IKEA table right here. We use IKEA in the UK, so we use IKEA over in Bulgaria. They deliver absolutely spot on. The kids' beds are from there. Brilliant. Couldn't fault them. We also use a company called emag.bg. And I've spoken about these on the videos many times. I believe it's a Romanian company. I've since found out it's a Romanian company, not a Bulgarian company. But they are like an equivalent of Amazon. So you find something you like on there and it's coming from a manufacturer or a stockholder of that particular item. It's not necessarily from one shop. It could be from anywhere, like Amazon. So you find something you like, you find the prices with some free delivery, some you pay for delivery, you order that item to your house. When it gets delivered, you can pay for it on delivery. So until it actually arrives at your property, you don't have to part with any money. You can hand the money over to the delivery driver, all done. We did that for the first few times, thinking, oh, that's the best way to go. Can we trust these companies? Can we trust these people? And then after about maybe the first 3 or 4 deliveries, I just stuck my card details in. And as soon as I buy something, I get it paid off. They come and drop it at my door. Absolutely spot on. And they actually ring me up for saying, right, we're going to be with you. Make sure you're home. And if I'm not home, if I've left the gate unlocked, I'll just tell them, sling it right back. Absolutely fine. We've had one thing broken, which was a set of scales that Jess bought. And they actually sent a delivery driver out to pick it up and return it. And I can't remember, did we get a replacement, Jess? Or I can't remember. It was either a replacement or they gave us money back on our account. I can't remember. Jess will tell you on that one. But they were absolutely brilliant. Dead easy to deal with. The bed we bought from them was really cheap. And it was kind of like just a chipboard. In the UK, we call it MFI, an MFI type bed. It was a chipboard sort of bed, but it was really nice. It looked the part. laminated chipboard. Looks really good. Not the comfiest bed in the world, but it was cheap and cheerful, and that's what we bought as a double bed. We'd probably go for something a little bit better next time. But yeah, you can get cheap stuff, cheap furniture, no problem. They're two good places to look. There are lots of furniture stores in Sunny Beach, but we just wanted to do things cheap and cheerful. Hope you get to 1,000 soon. Same to you, new Bulgarians. I hope you do this exactly the same, because it's not easy when you start out. I mean, I don't know how long you've been running the channel. I think we've been running a little bit longer than you guys. But we look at other people's channels. So people that inspired us. Our Direct Dream inspired us. There's quite a few. Alternative Living. Quite a few that inspired me to look at Bulgaria. They weren't the reason why we bought over here. They were just part of our research. And again, it's nice to learn by their mistakes, because people like myself, people make mistakes, and it's nice to pass on that knowledge. Yeah, on about pharmacies. Nice one, Jess. Cool. Oh, but we're talking about the cat, aren't we? Hang on a minute. I've just seen. Yes, Kimberly, the cat. Now, I'm the crazy cat man, right? So this is nothing to do with Jess. Jess, if she can avoid having pets, she'll avoid having pets. We had 2 cats here, and we ended up rehoming them with a friend because we knew we would be spending a lot of time in Bulgaria. They were getting on a bit as well, so we didn't want the stress of trying to transport them to Bulgaria and back again every time we came back. So I am the crazy cat man. It is all my fault. I love the cats coming to the house. Luckily, that they are pretty much village cats. So yes, they'll come to our house. They like the attention at our house, and we will feed them. But if we don't feed them, the neighbours across the road feed them, or the neighbours next door feed them. So there's always food available to them. So we didn't worry too much. We knew it wasn't our cat. We knew that it came from across the road, but there are hundreds of them. Village cats and dogs, they're always there. I built my business as a property man in St. Hanneman last 7 years. Yeah, doing extremely well. Reputation alone. Also currently looking to buy a property in BG. Get yourself over here, man. Get yourself over here. Like I said, the best thing to do is, speaking like I'm in Bulgaria, I'll keep forgetting that I'm back in the UK. The best thing to do is just get to Bulgaria. Don't let things sort of narrow your vision. Decide on what lifestyle you want first, and whether your situation will be right for that lifestyle. So what I mean by that is, I'm a mountain man. So I can go out, I can pack my rucksack now, I can go out and I can sleep under the stars, and I can cook, and I can trap rabbits, and I can cook them over an open fire. I can do all that. No problem. That'd be my dream life. Can I do that with 2 young boys, one that's autistic? No, I cannot. It's just not practical. It's not feasible. So if I was going to take my family to Bulgaria and go for a rural property in the middle of nowhere with potentially very little infrastructure, with potentially very few neighbours in one of these ghost towns where I can go and buy a house for €5,000, it would have all gone wrong very quickly. It would have been too challenging. And it would have affected our family in a different way to the issues that we experience now. So the issues we've got now, being where we are just basic sort of, how can I put this? Basic sort of things about schooling, what we're going to do with the boys with schooling, but they're around us. It's nearby. We don't have to worry. We don't have to think about, is there a nursery or a primary school or equivalent, somewhere in a 50-mile radius. Where we are, it's across the road. It literally is. It's near the park. There's a little school there. So we don't have to worry about things that you have to worry about if you go too rural. What I wanted was to be near the sea. So I've always grown up going on holidays, whether foreign holidays or holidays in the UK, going to the seaside. And I've got a passion for being around the sea. I've got a passion for water activities like snorkeling, just different things, kite surfing, even kayaking. Taking the kayaks out into the water would be absolutely amazing. So yeah, I wanted to be near the sea, and that beach sort of resort lifestyle means that in summer we actually feel like we're living on holiday. We're just the months on the end, but it's just one long holiday, even though we live there, and that's what I wanted. Help, Jess. Where am I up to? We've got sad cats. We've got follow a lot of foreigners who come to Bulgaria. It immediately appears on your homepage. Well, yeah, if you're Bulgarian, there's a good chance that it will. Oh, is Jess gone? Somebody's saying, take care, Jess, like a nice good night, for those of you that don't know. Michaela, would you be able to spend 90 days in Bulgaria and then 90 days in Turkey, then return back to Bulgaria again? Is Turkey in Schengen? If not, then yes, it's possible. It's not something we've looked at. I'm not a fan of Turkey. So I've been to Turkey twice, and both times had very negative experiences of Turkey. So it's not something I've looked at. I do know, like I said, I do know other countries that a lot of our friends have done the 90 days in Bulgaria and then done 90 days in places like Egypt or wherever, Thailand, and then come back. But I've never known nobody's mentioned doing 90 days in Turkey and coming back. So just check out if they're in the Shenzhen area, catchment area, then after the end of this month, forget it. You can't do it. Simple as. If it's outside of Shenzhen, then you should be able to do it. So yeah, so there you go. Owen saying, yeah, Turkey's not in the EU or not in Shenzhen. So yeah, go for it. It's just like I said, it's not my favourite country at all. Kimberly, Glenn, my husband is a plumber and gas engineer. Would he get? So you don't get much gas. So gas tends to be bottled in the villages. I'm not sure about, I think even some of the apartments have got gas bottles. We don't have gas to the property. We only have the electric and the water. As a plumber, plumbing's different over there as well. You get a lot of plastic piping that's melted together, plastic welded together, and that's pretty much what happens. Is the work? Then I'd say yes. We know that all the water mains have just been put in our village. If he can do sort of like that kind of work as well, then yeah, there's always going to be work. It's just whether you can get the correct work visas and work permits to actually be able to work in Bulgaria. That's what you need to look at first, really. It's something that we've not looked at because we're digital nomads, so we don't really need to worry about that too much. Even though I would actually like to do something with the outdoors sector in Bulgaria, but I don't want to step on people's toes. So we know that out of Sunny Beach, they run the Jeep safaris and different activities like that. And I don't really want to step on anybody's toes, especially Bulgarian businesses. However, if I could combine with either a Bulgarian business or my friend's ATV business and maybe set up a kayaking thing on one of the lakes that is just near us, or just so even if it was like an hour's taster session at the end of the day on the quads, and they came and did an hour on the kayaks, it'd be nice to do something. But I think that'd have to be an informal agreement. So for now, anyway. There you go, Owen. Only about 25% of Bulgaria has mains gas. So yeah, gas engineers, probably not a lot of work. But again, though, just think about skill sets. So I was talking, funnily enough, to somebody earlier, just nattering away about us being in Bulgaria. And straight away, they said, listen, I'm a civil servant in the UK. I've absolutely had enough. I'm sick to death of it. Don't want to be there. And the love of my life at the moment, my passion is my allotment. And I'm thinking, well, if that's the lifestyle that you like, then you'll be well suited to Bulgaria, because the self-sufficiency thing is absolutely unbelievable in Bulgaria. I mean, things grow like like nothing I've ever seen before, including weeds, as most people know from my videos. But being able to have land, own land quite cheaply, and be self-sufficient, if that's your lifestyle, if that's what your passion is, then I would say go for it, and then find out if there's some way of working out a business around that. And I'm not talking about growing and selling veg and fruit, because everybody in Bulgaria does that. There's no point in making wine, because everybody in Bulgaria does that. There's no point in having beehives, because everybody in Bulgaria does that. But maybe setting up a kind of healthy, self-sustained experience, having it as a retreat, come along, detox for a week, maybe having you don't even have to have them in your own home, maybe put some kind of yurt or some kind of shepherd's hut or something like that on your land, or even a caravan for that matter. It's just something on your land that somebody could stay in for short times as a retreat, and you've got a business option there. So I would always say have a look at what your passions are and see what you can do, see if there's any way of building something in Bulgaria. When you move over, schooling for the boys. So, yeah. I would say the thing is with schooling is, again, as we've mentioned before, and there's other people mentioned about the language barriers, the English and Bulgarian language. The more Bulgarian we can get into them now while they're young, the better. And luckily, they are picking it up. In the UK, our eldest is homeschooled because he has special educational needs, and we were let down by the mainstream school he was in. Big time let down. Absolutely shocking the way that he was treated. So we pulled him out of schooling, and he's being homeschooled, which suits us now because we can come and go from Bulgaria without the issue of being fined from the school. We can also teach him a curriculum that involves Bulgarian and Bulgarian cultures and Bulgarian history. So he doesn't just get inundated with what they teach in the UK schools. However, we have been told that the schooling system in Bulgaria is completely compulsory, and they can even come and knock on your door and make sure your kids are going to school, which I'm sure they can in Bulgaria, but nobody's actually given us any information of whether that is the same for children with special educational needs and medical needs, because he also has medical needs that we need to be considerate of. Now, nobody's turned around and said to us or given us the exact answer. We don't know whether homeschooling is possible for children in his position in Bulgaria, or whether at the age of 7 we should have him in school, because they do start at 7 in Bulgaria, not like they do over here, where I think in the UK kids start at school far too young. I think too much pressure on them when they're young. They need to be kids, and that's what our two are being able to get. So we'll have a look at the options with schooling. If we can get a special unit or a SEN unit, or even private tuition, however we can work it, we'll work something out. But at the moment, they're just being homeschooled. Yeah, Owen, if your rate is about 40 quid a day, you will get one. You know what? It's true. This has been the one thing. So I'm very, very much aware from my friends that have gone over there and set up businesses. If you're working for somebody else and you're working at Bulgarian rates, it's not a lot of money. And most people in the UK wouldn't get out of bed for the money that they're paying over there. However, there are certain specialities and certain businesses that are required. And one of our friends, I'm not going to go into detail about their business because I've not asked permission to, but one of our friends has set up a business. They've done it all formally. Everything's done. Everything's set up legally. Everything's right. Everything's registered. And they're getting clients that are traveling into them now. And basically, the clients are coming down from Varna, they're coming up from Burgas, coming from all over and saying, you're absolutely wonderful. You're too cheap. You need to put your prices up. And which is crazy. You wouldn't expect to hear this from Bulgarians, but they're literally saying you're too cheap. So if you've got a business where you can, pretty much corner the market, or your speciality is something that's in need in Bulgaria, then make sure your pricing structure is actually what they will pay. Don't undercut yourself. put it in at the correct price. Now, I believe that they actually put the prices in that they charged in their home country, and the Bulgarians are saying it's too cheap. So there you go. Just be mindful of that. But if you are working for somebody else, expect low hourly rates of pay, because, yeah, that's just the way it is. That's Bulgaria. Yeah, taking a pay cut, yeah. But do you know what? I agree with you. I agree with you about, helping people, especially in Bulgaria, especially when you've undergone the process yourself as well. And I know through other people that run channels on here that they're always willing to help people. But you will find your place and you will find your niche. And just remember, if you're working for yourself, and not somebody else, you set your own rates. You set what you're willing to charge. If they're willing to pay it, then so be it. That's fine. It's different working for another company as it is working for yourself. So if you're going to do it, you need to be business minded and do it yourself. Simple as. So rules for children at school are very, very strict. Yeah. There are special supplies. You won't have any problems. Brilliant. Thank you. That's nice to know. We have been told, we do know of, in fact, funnily enough, our lawyer has a daughter with special educational needs. So we're in touch with her as well. So we do know that there are, special help and things for kids that do need it. However, we don't know about the health issue things, whether that's going to become an issue with the school or not. But we'll look into it. We'll have to look at the legal aspects of it. I'm pretty sure the main reason why, as a nation, as a government, they're pushing for all kids to be in school is because there was a big section of probably the gypsy community as well, which just the kids weren't getting an education. We know many in the gypsy community that can't read and write. So I think that's probably why they're pushing to get more kids into formal education. We'll see. What about charging per hour? Like I said, you can do that. You can charge per hour, or you can charge rates for the job. I mean, I would personally, I'd be going and giving quotes for the job, because you've got to take into account a lot of people over there won't want to be messing about finding materials. So you'll have to find your material costs. You'll have to find out your travel costs. You'll have to work it all out and then go from there. So yes, you can charge per hour, but you'd probably be expected to provide your own materials and your own tools. So just think about that. Again, you'll work it out. Yeah, true. Hang on, I've missed something. Oh, hang on. It's far too damp in the UK now. I've obviously missed a comment there somewhere. Oh, the climate feels healthy in Bulgaria. Right, let me tell you. Right. Again, these are things that I don't think to put on the videos, because it's not something that I generally talk about. But this is why I wanted to do this live chat. So I've been a competitive fighter for a lot of years. I was a Thai boxer, Muay Thai boxer. And I have competitively fought. I have taught and trained since I was 14 years of age. Before that, I did Kung Fu. So I've had a long career in martial arts. I've put a lot of my physical being into it. And now, in my late 40s, it's catching up with me big time. I've got aches and pains in joints that I didn't even know I had. When I'm in Bulgaria, that goes away. It absolutely goes away. Don't get me wrong, there'll be a few times where, especially when I've been wheelbarrowing 5 ton of stone up and down a driveway, I'll wake up with a bit of a sore back or whatever. But I came back to the UK, and within a day, my knees, my shoulders, my elbows, everything was just hurting. It was just painful. Cold and dampness in the UK is just, completely different thing. So we've experienced Bulgarian winter. And yes, it's cold, but no, it's not as damp. It's not as damp, and you feel way better. And of course, you can pretty much give that it's 300 days of sunshine a year. We say sunshine, it might not be the hottest sunshine, but when we were over there, we were getting 18 to 20 odd degrees in January and February. You think to yourself, well, that's pretty good. I'm happy to be out in 2020. I think it was 24 degrees one day when we were over there. So, for a winter time, that's nice, really nice sun. You don't mind that at all. I only ever work for myself. Yeah, good. I've been self-employed since 1996. So, and even when I do go and work, so I have been contracted on a couple of jobs where I've gone cards in, but I've kind of still worked very much on a freelancer basis. So, yeah, I don't blame yourself. Work for yourself. Don't work for somebody else if you can avoid it. Couldn't agree more. Slower pace of life. It is. It's a slower pace of life. It's a much better pace of life. And if you notice in the summer videos as well, I'm far more relaxed because you're not in winter. I'm always worried about the timescale. I'm like, I want this job doing, I want that job doing, and then it kind of doesn't happen, and everything happens around you. So in your head, you know what you want to achieve, but what actually happens is what comes available at the time, or maybe Slash will come to us and say, I've been on to my friend and he can do your double glazing and it'll be in next week, and it's like, oh my god, what's going on? Like I said, over here, if I order something over here, it might not happen for 2 months. But over there, I ordered my 5 ton of gravel thinking it would come in a couple of days. And it was like, yeah, be there at your house in 45 minutes. I wasn't even ready for it. I had to go home and get the shovel out and start just moving stuff. And, it was just a nightmare. So, things happen quickly when you want to be laid back. And then in summer, when we go over and we're trying to be relaxed and laid back, time goes like that. Absolutely flies. It's on Facebook. So people contact me on Facebook as well. 10 degrees and raining all day up the coast from Sunny Beach. Again, I don't mind the rain in Bulgaria. It's very, very different. I mean, the experience we've had in the rain is that it rains properly. Over here, you don't have that constant sort of like wet atmosphere, that damp air, that constant drizzle that we get, especially in the north of England. Nightmare. The reason why your pain gets better is the vitamin D. I think it is partly the vitamin D, but it's 100%. There's no two ways about it. Cold and dampness affects your joints. There's no two ways about it. Yes, you do feel better with the vitamin D, 100%, but cold and dampness in the UK, not good. Not much fun. From UK, and we've got someone from North Africa. Excellent. Hi from North Africa. One of our good friends over in Bulgaria is from South Africa. We've got a North African here. If you're on the Mediterranean Sea, then you'll know what the life's like there. It's nice to have some nice weather over the summer. Jess is currently over off the Spanish coast, and she's seeing the fact that they do have a much milder winter in Benidorm than we do in Sunny Beach. And they have pretty much now what's getting to an all year round season. Would I want an all year round season in Sunny Beach? No, I wouldn't, because by the end of September, or when we go back anytime over winter, it's nice to have that downtime, that quiet time, and don't let anybody fool you. I'm sick of seeing comments on Facebook saying Sunny Beach is a ghost town out of season. That is a complete lie. The tourist strip and Flower Street is a ghost town, because that is false. That is not Bulgaria. That is Blackpool. It's just a false facade. It's hotels, it's bars, it's clubs that are all shut down all winter long. However, you come one road back and you've got bars open, you've got bistros open, you've got supermarkets open, you've got a constant buzz of people, the Real Ale bars open. You know what I mean? You can't go wrong. Restaurants are open. Yes, they're not on the main strip, but these are some of the nicer places to visit, even when people are there on holiday anyway. It just happens to be on the back street of Sunny Beach. So, definitely not a ghost town, but we like it being quiet as well. It's nice to see it a little bit quieter. Where are we? Do you have any idea about the IT sector? So the IT sector in BG, I have a little bit of an idea about it. What I will say to you is that, yes, you're going to struggle if you're looking at sort of like big contracts business-wise, because they're not, unless they start coming on board more with IT, you're going to struggle. However, if you're on the other side of it, not necessarily the IT side of it, but more the digital marketing side of it, or if you can do any sort of job online, the internet is absolutely phenomenal in Bulgaria. There's no issue. It's so cheap as well, so fast, way better than the UK. And yeah, there's a lot of scope for it. The Bulgarian government are currently putting out incentives for people to jump on board as sort of like online ambassadors, influencers, to create more of a buzz about Bulgaria. So they're actually paying influencers now to post about Bulgaria and to try and create more tourism. So yeah, so there is scope. I think things are moving forwards with the IT industry. We do see, I'm a little bit cautious when I see adverts online for work, because you get the typical, would you like to work, your own hours, whatever hours you want to work, come and work for us. And it's usually some kind of spammy message. And I look at it thinking, well, that's possibly a scam. But there might be some of them that are legitimate companies. I think one of them is a travel company that just needs like customer services people on the internet answering questions all the time for people. So there is online work, there is stuff over here. So yeah, look into it. Just see what's. Get on the forums, ask questions. That's the best way. That's all I did. I jumped on every single sort of group on Facebook. I was even on Reddit, looking at the Bulgarian page on Reddit. What else was on? I researched everything. I looked everywhere to see what was happening in Bulgaria and what the possibilities were like for different lines of work, and realised that they were kind of behind the times when it came to technology, which I still think I am. To be fair, even though I've got a print-on-demand business. Obviously, as most of you know, I have my YouTube page. I've not even done this. I've been on here for what? An hour now, if not longer. 2 hours. How long have I been on? No, an hour and 20 minutes. And that's the first time I've even pulled up a screen share. But yeah, I've got that. I've got another page that is my Guru Who page, which was my original sort of meditational health and well-being page. So I've kind of tried to develop more of a digital presence, more of a, not necessarily as an influencer or anything like that, just as a digital presence, because I knew that's the way the world was shifting. So I couldn't really sit back and not be on that movement. So I don't think I've got amazing IT skills. I really don't. But I can certainly get myself around the internet enough to make some money. I think most people these days are shifting that way. Let's have a look. Yeah. I don't know how to change that screen, by the way, to another one. So I'll worry about it afterwards. I think I have to close that one and open another screen share. Yeah. If anybody's interested as well, please check out the print on demand things. I do a lot of Sunny Beach t-shirts, some funny stuff as well. You might have seen some of my stuff on other social media sites. I don't really push it as much on YouTube. I also have a TikTok shop, so that's kind of something else. But yeah, take a look. It's guruwho.com with a little hyphen in the middle like that. But yeah, just check it out and see if there's anything on there. I've kept the prices as cheap as I can on my store. And this is the thing where we're talking before about value in your job. I'm stupid, really, because I'm saying, yeah, value your job and charge what you want. I've actually done my T-shirts on my store and my hoodies and stuff at a price that I'd be willing to pay as an individual. That's what I'd be willing to pay. And I struggle to sell cheap stuff. Yeah, on the other sites that I use, they put a massive markup on and charge nearly twice as much, and I get sales. So it's crazy. It's like people don't trust things if it's cheaper, but they trust it if it's 3 times more expensive. Can't get my head around that, but that just seems to be how it works. Bulgaria is the second fastest internet in Europe, yes, and 10th in the world. This is what I'm saying. You can't beat it. It's absolutely brilliant. Never let us down yet. In fact, I actually run all my, I've got set up CCTV and an alarm system on my house in Bulgaria, even though I'm not worried about it because we've got great neighbours and we're in a great village. But I put it on there because we didn't really know what it was going to be like. And the only time it ever goes off is if there's a power cut in the village. Other than that, it runs constantly and it doesn't cost a lot of money for that internet connection. And obviously it streams straight through to our phones. So any movement outside the house and we get notifications on the phones. Brilliant. Can't beat it. Thank you for the stream. Really helpful. We just bought a property in Bulgaria in Veliko Trnavo. Brilliant. From the Netherlands. Excellent. Well done, guys. So VT, very, very popular area at the moment. Want to go and visit it again. You know, I'd absolutely love to go and spend some time in VT. One of our friends actually moved from near where we are now and moved up to VT. Yeah, you know, it all depends on what kind of life you want. VT's probably got a more of a how can I put it, old world Bulgarian feel as opposed to Sunny Beach. It's kind of, you know, kind of stuck in the 80s like Benidorm was in the 80s. But again, I think when it comes to Bulgarian villages themselves, they all have a very similar feel. Every village I've been in, no matter where it's been in Bulgaria, has always had a very similar feel. It just tends to be the bigger towns and cities when you go inland, whether it's Plovdiv, whether it's VT, wherever, it's got more of a heritage feel, more, you know, you get that old school sort of Bulgarian, which we kind of get, because we've got Old Town Nezabar down the road, so we do see that. Owens, Obzor, yeah. Halfway between Bogus and Varna. Yeah, we've passed it. We've been on the bus from Varna. We've obviously, when we arrive at the airport in Varna, we jump on the bus. We come past, so we know where you are. When you back again, pal? I was over in January. Did I not? Didn't. If I didn't see you in January, we were over in January. If we didn't see you, yeah, back in July, we will definitely be there. Just like I said, anybody on here that wants to meet up, best thing to do is just drop a comment on one of these, because if you drop a comment on a YouTube video or one of my shorts or whatever, it always pops up on my phone. So if I see it on my phone, I can get back to you and tell you where we're going to be, which is more than like I said, Iglika, Spiders, or Condor. three cheap places. The three cheap places we like to be. But yeah, by all means, that'd be wicked. Always like to meet people for a chat. Nice one. So yeah, I had one or two people might actually come on and share the screen and do some, but I think everybody's just chilling out tonight. It's been nice that it's nice to have people from different backgrounds as well, because we were warned before we moved to Bulgaria, or before we bought a house in Bulgaria. So it's not the permanent yet, but before we started the process, we were warned, and we were warned by British people. And they all said, beware, beware, beware of this gypsy community in Bulgaria. Beware. And I'm going to tell you something now. We've been embraced by the gypsy community. We've been drinking in the gypsy bars. We've been to gypsy birthdays. My best friend's gypsy. Everything's been absolutely brilliant. We've had a brilliant experience of the gypsy community in Bulgaria, without a shadow of a doubt. Even in our village, we've had no issues with the gypsies. We've befriended them. Yes, they'll come and they'll beg every now and again for some money. We just, we either tell them we only pay on card, or we only pay with Bitcoin, and they kind of walk away like, oh my God, what have I done? But yeah, we have no issues with them. What we should have actually been told was beware of the Brits. Because in our experience up to now, the only people that we've seen any animosity between and any falling out between have been the British expats. So that's the only issues we've experienced. Everybody else has been great. Everybody else has been amazing. But there's been falling out between the Brits. So yes, just be aware of that. So let's have a look. Oh dear. Sounds good. Ah, Simon, yes, of course, yeah, the guy that lives near. So you live near where I used to work at Waddle Hall, yeah, yeah. Unfortunately, like I said, that's gone as a girl guiding centre now. That was a girl guiding centre for many years. I used to love working up at Waddle Hall. Yeah, definitely keep in touch. What we'll do, best thing to, I mean, I'm an open book. I'm a very friendly guy. I'm an open book. If you come and you're really interested in life in the villages or whatever, and you want to come and experience our village, we can even come down and meet you in Sunny Beach, or you can jump on the bus and we tell you where to get off, and we can meet up with you in the village. Either or, we don't mind. It makes no difference to us. Yeah, come and have a look at the village. Come and have a look at the house. Come and have a look at the property we've got. You know, by all means, it's always nice to show people around. But yeah, keep in touch, Simon. We'll sort something out. Just let us know when you're over, and yeah, we'll definitely get the kids together. No problem at all. Who else? That's cheddar in BG is in Janet Supermarket. Well, again, so this is the thing. This is the thing, right? I don't miss anything over there that is English food. So a lot of people go on about having real proper bacon or this, that, and the other, or proper sausages. I actually enjoy Bulgarian food. It's very, very basic. It's lots of meat and grilled vegetables and soups and stews, and it's very basic food, but it's lovely food. The only thing I actually miss, the only one thing I miss, which most people would actually say is a traditional English meal, and that is a good Indian curry. So there you go. I've said it. A good Indian curry is the one thing I miss when I'm in Sunny Beach, Bulgaria. We do get a nice tandoori, which is tandoori chicken, and we get that from Kableshkovo, from the what's called Chuck Wagon. We go there and we get we get a nice bit of tandoori chicken. But other than that, a good curry is the only thing I crave when I come back to the UK. So you can sit at a table here without meat. Don't get that comment. Oh, you can't sit at a table, yeah, without meat. No, at the end of the day, it's one of the things that I'm wanting to experience. I've not experienced it yet, but we know. I think it's awesome when they go out and they do the wild boar hunting and they go out for pigs. I want to be there for the festival of the pig, where everybody's roasting pigs. That'd be amazing. That hog roasts everywhere. That'd be fantastic. We were there for wine day. We've been there for bread day. I want to be there when it's pig day and they're all roasting the wild hogs that they've killed. That'd be amazing. Obviously, yeah, rakia, you can't go wrong without a bit of rakia. You can't go wrong with banitsa. Yeah, absolutely beautiful stuff. Love it. How come when you start talking about food, everybody starts listing food? I'm getting hungry now. I like the UK football. Yeah, it's funny actually. So again, there's a lot of people. I was witnessing a video earlier on. I can't remember what it was on, but I was a bit confused by it, and it was a video just basically trying to say, why are the Brits so negative about the current situation in the UK? Why are they so negative about the history of the UK? And a lot of it is based on a history that we've been kind of pushed on to believe. I mean, let's face it, we could quite rightly say, oh, let's not move to Bulgaria because in World War One, the Ottomans, we had to fight against the Ottomans who ruled Bulgaria back in the day. But we're talking things that are historical facts that don't affect us in our lives. Somebody actually made a comment to me on one of the videos saying, the UK, if the UK history had anything to believe, then it makes you feel like we enslaved all black people, that we're a nation of racists, that we just, that they don't depict the UK history and the UK life in a good way. And it's a shame because I think we've created a society where, I'm not saying we've been misinformed about our history, but they've highlighted lots of negative things about our history and not as much of the positive things. So when you're growing up and you hear about the British Empire, and all of a sudden, we were the guilty party because we went out and we ruled over all these countries and we took all these countries and we did that, and everything's deemed as a negative situation. But then again, where would the UK be without the Romans coming over and building the roads and putting sewage systems in and all, So I don't know. It's crazy. Yeah. People are a bit negative about the UK, though. I will admit that. Jess has just had to nip off. But yeah, that's cool. Last time I was in the UK 5 years ago. First thing I did was order a curry from the Gurkhas. Yeah, well, we actually like there's a Gurkha restaurant in Blackpool. It's called the Gurkha, and that is absolutely wicked. That place is superb. So yeah, it won against the UK in World War I. We're very well aware of that. Yeah. But the fact is, like I said, all these historical factors, let's face it, if we lived in the past, we'd never move on to a future, would we? So I try not to dwell on all that. But yeah, the UK just at the moment, the way things are going, I don't see a positive outcome for my children in the UK. So when I was growing up, I was in a situation where I was at the right age where I could still go and put a deposit down on a property and buy a house. Yeah. I cannot see my boys ever being in that position unless there's a massive crash in the property prices in the UK. I can't see him being in a position to do that now. I could do that at 17, 18 years of age. Yeah. My boys have got no chance in the UK now. My boys in the UK would struggle to get insurance on a car. I had to buy because I've been married previously, so I've got an old daughter. I had to buy my eldest daughter a classic car, a classic Beetle, just so she could be able to be insured on it, because I couldn't buy a more modern vehicle because the insurance costs for a young driver, a first-time driver, were through the roof. So I don't see a future in the UK. I really don't. Much better to be in a country that has these things available in a different way. So in Bulgaria, you insure the vehicle, not necessarily the person driving it, which is kind of good. And it's much cheaper than the UK. So yeah, I agree. The UK isn't what it used to be. It's not. Greedy government. I wouldn't say greedy government. I'd say corrupt government, because it's not necessarily the government that's making the money, but they're very happy to give it to the friends and their fellow private school, boarding school friends that now have multi-million-pound businesses that they are given money left, right, and centre, given contracts by the government. Yeah, it's not good. So Bulgarian, is Bulgarian government any better? Well, what I would say about Bulgaria is that when there's corruption, they actually openly admit and go, "Oh, well, mafia." They kind of admit to it, whereas in the UK, they kind of are mafia. They are corrupt. They are, taking everything they can, but they're hiding behind being politicians or, the rest of it. And I think it's bad. I'd rather somebody be if there's such a term as an honest criminal, I'd rather there be somebody that's an honest criminal and actually goes, yes, I'm mafia, that's what I do, rather than going, oh, I'm a politician, I'm here for you, I will not take all your money in taxes and I will not give it to my friends, because you know full well that they will. I mean, my take on Brexit is they told the UK the one clinching deal for the UK was, we will control our borders. What they didn't tell you is which way. They didn't say, we're going to stop people coming into the country that shouldn't be coming into the country on the dinghies across from Dover and Calais or wherever they come from. We're not going to stop that. What we're going to stop is the British taxpayers leaving the UK and easily travelling to other EU countries and living and working there. That's what they didn't tell you. So they did control the borders. They just controlled it to keep you guys in, or us guys in, and not keep them out. So, That's my opinion on it. Whether it's right or wrong, that's the way I see it, and I think it's not going to get any better. Coffee. That's another thing. Why am I talking about what I miss? When I'm at home in the UK for a length of time, I tend to drink instant coffee. When I go to Bulgaria, I drink that much fresh coffee. When I come home, I've had to get the coffee machine out to start making fresh coffees because that's all I drink. I drink lots of, especially in winter. I drink more beer in summer, but in winter I drink a lot of coffee. Yeah, I was going to say Bulgaria is openly corrupt. Yeah, it is, definitely. Electricity is charging for domestic customers is as well. Changing, sorry. Yeah, I mean, prices are changing. Prices are going up. Oh, there you go. Well done, Noel. You've hit the nail on the head. Do you think the euro currency will come in beginning of 2025? Personally, I don't know too much about this. All I'm going to say is that they've said they're going to do it for so many years now that people have got very complacent over in Bulgaria. Even the Bulgarians themselves have been turning around going, oh no, well, they've said this for the last 10 years. They've been telling us the euro's coming for the last 10 years. It'll never come in. It'll never come in. They've minted the coins. You know, they're literally, there are Bulgarian euros made. So, yes, I think it's coming. Whether it'll come when they've said it will, which is in January next year, I do not know. Whether it'll be pushed back, I do not know, but I think it will come. Now, will the euro destroy Bulgaria? Depends. And this is the thing. So the euro and the Bulgarian lev have been linked together. So they've moved at the same inflation rates. And so that shouldn't be an issue. It shouldn't be an issue when you come to things like buying properties or spending big amounts of money because you're already doing that in euros anyway. Or most people are doing it in euros. Same with cars as well. A lot of cars bought in euros. The big problem is going to be is how greedy are the Bulgarians going to be and the business owners going to be and the shopkeepers going to be and the supermarkets going to be. If they do the exact equivalent conversion of Bulgarian lev to euro, there will be absolutely no change. It'll still be cheap as chips. However, if some Bulgarian guy goes, I sell this bottle of beer for 2 lev, it is now €2, they've knackered it. Absolutely knackered it. And I can see that happening. I can see my 2 lev or 2 lev 50 pint that I drink now becoming €2. Now, in Spain, you go and get a Spanish beer, a bottle of Spanish beer. It's going. Well, Jess has just been to. She's there at the moment. She's just been to the bar. She's been sending me pictures. I've got pictures to actually do a video of price comparisons and the special offers during happy hour was 2 pints of San Miguel for €5. So that's €2.50 per pint. If that happens in Bulgaria, they've lost it. Because everybody that goes to Bulgaria, because it's cheap, they can go out drinking cheap, they can go out eating cheap, will then go, oh, sod that, we'll go back to Spain because it's just as cheap in Spain. At the moment, I can get a 2 lev pint, 88 pence. That'll do for me all day long. So, yeah, I am a bit concerned about it coming in, but I'm not too worried because we're property owners already. So as a property owner now, I can only see the prices of land and property continuing to rise, and with the euro coming in, I can see that continuing to go up. So I think the investment in the property is safe and likely to do well. I know a lot of Bulgarians that have got money have been buying up land and buying up properties as well before the euro comes in. So I think they're thinking the same. So yeah, it's just that is my pint of Bulgarian beer going to go too expensive? Is the cost of living going to go up? We'll see. It's not that cheap anymore after the war in Ukraine. Get this a lot. It's not as cheap, but you'd be shocked if you're from the UK and you've been over in Bulgaria for a length of time and you go, oh, it's not cheap anymore. Try being over here. Try going out and drinking in the UK right now where some places are charging up to £10 a pint. So a £10 pint is becoming quite a thing in cities these days. try going to an airport, £10 pint. Some are even more expensive. Some hotels are charging £11, £11.50 a pint. So if you think that it's getting more expensive to drink and eat out in Bulgaria, I can go out on my own. I can have 2 pints of beer and a kebab for 10 lever, let's say. So 2 pints and a kebab for 10 lever, which is £4.44. I can't go out and get 1 pint in my local pub for that price. So it's definitely cheap. Let's have a look. Used to be 2 prints on the menu, €1.11. Yeah, that's the problem. So yeah, 10 lever became €10. If they do that, they've knackered it. I mean, don't get me wrong. I don't think they've knackered it so much for us, because we'll just switch to what I wanted, which was originally, which has been more self-sufficient, self-sustaining. We're in a village. We don't have to worry about Sunny Beach. But for the tourist industry, the second that they do that, 10 lever becomes €10. Forget it. They're going to lose all the tourism. They're going to be on their ass in no time, and they're going to be begging people to come back to the country, and they're going to have to do something about it. And if that's dropping prices, that's dropping prices. So for me, I drink nothing, just water, sometimes a couple of coffee capsules. Cool. Well, like I said, the coffee machines, I go and put my 50 stinky. So what's 50 stinky? About 20p into a coffee machine. I get a lovely, fresh cup of coffee every time I go to the shop. Absolutely love it. Can't go wrong on that. But yeah, so I don't know why I've left that up there. Didn't need to. But yeah, so I'm hoping that everybody that's been in the chat have subscribed to my YouTube channel. It'd be nice to see some numbers going up, and it's always nice to see the comments on our videos have always been really, really positive. We do tend to get people that obviously know a little bit more than us, that have been out there for years, and kind of correct us when we make a mistake. And sometimes I think to myself, well, if I've been in contact with you before, I wouldn't have made that mistake. But, it's one of them things. I tried to do as much research as I could. Anybody that is thinking about coming over, especially now, like I said, since Brexit, if you're thinking about coming over to buy a property, just remember that it's not expensive to set up a company. It's not difficult to buy a property. It happens so quickly, so easily. The only difficulty you can have with a property is depending on who actually owns the property. So if it's like ours, it was an elderly couple that passed away, and it was the daughter that was selling it. But there were 2 elderly sisters that had to give permission for that property to be sold. Now, we were lucky because there was 2 elderly ladies. Unfortunately, it was a bit difficult to get the paperwork sorted out because they were both in hospital at the time, but we managed to do it. But we have heard stories of people trying to buy a house, and they have to contact several, maybe 10, 20 people to get permission to sell that house. So sometimes the paperwork can be a little bit more intensive. Ours was straightforward, went through really easily, went through really quickly. Can't thank One Stop Property Shop enough. Can't thank Boyana enough, who's our lawyer. Can't thank what they call Smart Tax Consulting in Sofia, because they were absolutely brilliant. They were all absolutely spot on. Without them, it would have been a difficult process. But I only found them by doing the research and talking to people. So definitely worth doing. So I think that's pretty much covered a lot of things. I am going to do another one of these at some stage. I don't know when, but I'm going to do another one. It's such a straightforward process, providing there isn't a lot of members that own. Yeah, that's the thing. It's because of the way properties are left to families. That's all it comes down to. Over here, it's not as complicated, but if there's lots of family members, it can be very complicated to buy a property off somebody. We found it straightforward. I mean, there were nothing outstanding on it. Everything was paid up. It was just as simple as going down to the notary, signing some papers, and that was it. It was done. The inheritance laws are very different. Yeah, that's the only thing you've got to remember. That's the only thing that can be a stumbling block. other than that, I mean, I've never known something to go through so quick in my life. You know, when you talk about buying a property over here, completely different ball game to buying a property in Bulgaria. Completely different thing. It went through so straightforward, so easily. In fact, and again, I'll give Pat all this credit. They happened to find the house on a day that I couldn't get a deposit over to them because the banks were closed over here. Couldn't get the deposit over. We wanted to get a deposit to them as quick as we could. So Pat helped me out. He, out of his own bank, paid the deposit, and I just sent it back to him when the banks reopened. So, I can't thank the guy enough. He helps us out in a lot of ways. Like I said, with the apartment for a week, helped us out getting the property secured with the deposit, because in Bulgaria, it's pretty much once you've got your deposit down, that's it. You know what I mean? That's kind of said, yeah, it's promised to you. You're not going to lose it. Let's just sort out the details then. So once the deposit's paid and you've got your lawyer on the case, the house is yours. You've just got to wait for the paperwork to come through and be signed and sealed and done. Going over in April, can't wait. Like I said, best piece of advice, travel around, experience as much of Bulgaria as you can, decide on where's right for you. Location, 100%. There's a guy now. What's your activity? So like I said, I've done, funnily enough, I've worked security for a lot of years. Both me and Jess worked on security. We worked for a security firm here for a lot of years, but I did that on a freelance basis. I've been an outdoor instructor for over 10 years. I've always been a coach. Been a coach from leaving school, different things. I've my Thai boxing schools up and running over here for 30 years. I've done a lot, but now I'm switching everything digitally. So to become a digital nomad, it was actually lockdown. I'm not going to lie, it was lockdown. Lockdown completely changed my outlook on everything. When the government turned around to me and told me, you cannot go out and make your living. You cannot leave your house as a self-employed person and make your living. Then they said to me, but you're entitled to a cess payment. Here's this money. Have this money. It's a grant. You're entitled to it. The following tax year, they snatched it all back. They turned around and said, oh, no, COVID's over. You're not entitled to it. We want it all back. I sent them the email showing that, oh, no, you've made too much money. We want it all back. So it's like just an absolute disgrace. So it was COVID that made me decide there and then, that I was changing my tact. I was going to make sure that if all hell broke loose in the UK and you weren't allowed to leave your house to go to work, I still had a means of making money, which is switching everything online. And that's what I've done. So, it's quite cool, really. And again, if you've got any kind of teaching and coaching skills, that automatically translates to working online. It really does. You can teach online, you can become a coach online, you can become a business coach, you can become a life guru. You can do all these things. Like I said, health and well-being is one of my big things. I like that on YouTube and on other social media, but I don't really want to go down I tried the route of helping people to go to the IT side of things and to go to being a digital nomad. I tried that kind of making money online niche, and it didn't really work out because there's so much competition. But if you can find a niche where there's not a lot of competition, you can make loads of money online. Hi Glenn, the hobby she met you at the Condor. Robbie. I can't remember your name, but cool. Met me in the Condor. Well, that's the best thing. I mean, it's one of my favorite places to go and drink because it's the first bar I walked into in Bulgaria. It was the first Bulgarian beer I drank, and it was the first time that I sat down with people that lived in Bulgaria for over 20 years, and I listened to every piece of advice they could give me, and I literally sat there and discarded a good sort of 60 to 70% of it, but the rest were absolute gems of knowledge that, and not just knowledge, but just words of wisdom, words of advice. And the one that was, wish we'd done this 20 years ago, hit me straight away. Because when a retiree tells you, we wish we'd done this 20 years ago, and you are that 20 years before retirement, you think to yourself, spot on. This is my time to do it now. If I don't do it now, I might never get the chance. But yeah. So again, people do talk about the cold weather. Yes, it gets cold. We landed in Sofia in 4 or 5 foot of snow when we arrived, But by the time we got to the Sunny Beach area, it was much warmer. So and we saw a slight sprinkling of snow, and that was it. So if you're near the coast, you're not going to get the severe bad winters every year. Yes, we know that last year they had a few days of snow, but it was only a few days of snow. This year, I think they've had a little smattering of, not even enough to speak about of snow. And it's just been cold nights and warm days. That's been the winter that we've experienced up to now. And when we left the previous winter, we left mid-December, and we left in December at 22 degrees. So, yeah, absolutely crazy. Microclimate along the coast. Yeah, it definitely is. Very different climate. And that's another reason why I wanted a coastal property or somewhere near. I mean, you know, if you want somewhere right on the coast, on the seafront, you're going to pay the premium for that. But you're exposing yourself to other issues then as well, being nearer to potentially the tourist zones, whereas I didn't want that. I didn't want to be tourist zone. I didn't want to be villa belt. I wanted to be traditional Bulgarian village. That's what I've got. So, yeah, cool. Yeah, again, Veliko keeps cropping up. If you want to know a lot about Veliko, definitely follow Our Derelict Dream. They'll help you massively. Absolutely brilliant guys. They actually do find properties for people as well. They've got contacts to help people for residency. I definitely be contacting them. I definitely look at their YouTube channel. Our Derelict Dream, can't go wrong. Yeah. Well, it's been nice speaking to you all. I think I've kept everybody up for a couple of hours, which is pretty cool. I'm going to get myself off to bed soon. The boys are in bed, and like I said, Jess is. I think she's probably had enough of the alcohol in Benidorm, and she'll be home tomorrow. But keep an eye on the videos. I am going to do some more videos while I'm here, and I'm going to do videos that are a bit more specific to certain topics. So it might be specific to the purchasing of the house, might be specific to residency, it might be specific to just the legal aspects of, like I said, maybe doing the rental agreement on your own properties and stuff like that. But I'll do some more videos, the pluses, negatives of being over there, just little things. And I like to keep it going, because what I have been doing is filming in Bulgaria, coming back to the UK and doing absolutely nothing. And unfortunately, it's been affecting the channel, and it just makes it harder to build things back up again. So I'll try and keep it going. Keep watching. Please subscribe. And like I said before, anybody, if you watch a video and you like it, just click that share button. And if you can share it onto your Facebook or whatever social media you use, if it gets me 1 or 2 more subscribers, absolutely brilliant. But thank you very much. Thank you for all your questions. Keep in touch, guys. Drop me a line if you want to meet us in Sunny Beach. Drop us a line if you want to come and visit us at the village. You're more than welcome to do so. Just drop it in the comments. It'll come up on my phone and I can get back to you. Right. Cheers, guys. Thank you very much. And good night. Lekker nacht.